Okay, so I thought I'd do a video of what I feed my dogs. So I do a mixture of raw and I also do dry kibble. So the kibble, I've always had my dogs on that, but I like to feed them raw as well. But the main food is their kibble. So you'll see now what I'm going to do. So I start with about 10 kilos of minced beef. And look, that's fine to give them, but you also want to add other sources of vegetables, fruits, muscle meat and liver as well, just to build up those nutrients, especially because I've got a pregnant dog at the moment as well. So I want to give her a little bit of extra. So what I also add is grated carrots. I'll do about, depending on how much mince you get, this is 10 kilos, so that was about 5 carrots. So I'll just pop that in there. And at the end I'll obviously mix it all around. But the carrots are high in fibre, rich in vitamin A. They're really good for the immune system and great for their skin and coat. So, or you could use sweet potato as well, that's also excellent. And then also I can add some greens in there. So today I'm using frozen peas. I'm using frozen because I'm going to freeze these bags in portions, so it doesn't matter. Fresh, frozen, they're going to be refrozen. So they're just smaller green peas. So carrot peas. I've also got some frozen berries. So blueberries and strawberries. They're a good source of vitamin A, C, iron and also magnesium. So strawberries and blueberries. And once they're all mixed in, well, the dogs just demolish it. They love it. So that's that. I've also gotten, there's different types of liver, obviously chicken, beef, lamb. I've gotten beef liver today, so that's essential vitamins for the coat and skin. But just in small amounts if you're going to be giving it as treats. I've diced this up into really little cubes, and then once I've mixed that all the way through the rest of the raw, it'll be nicely distributed. And then I've also got some chicken hearts, and this is also really good for their skeletal structure. So they're chicken hearts. And then what I'll do is I'll mix all this together, I'll portion it, and then when I actually feed it to the dogs, I'll either, if it's summertime, they're quite happy to have it frozen, cools them down. Otherwise I might let it defrost a little bit, add egg, some fresh sardines or frozen sardines, as well as a little bit of Greek yogurt too. Like I said before, you could add sweet potato, but the bulk of it is the minced beef, and then just like your carrot and your veggies to add. So I will give them the dry kibble in the morning, and then in the late afternoon or evening they can have their raw. Otherwise they won't eat the kibble, they'll just eat the raw. They love that so much. But I just like, that's what I like to do. That's how my dogs thrive on it, and you might do it different, but this is what I do. And then I just give it a good mix. I also have some chicken frames. I buy a couple of boxes and usually give the dogs the chicken frames about twice a week. Also with my pregnant female, she can have an extra one, so 3 times a week. So obviously the bones are really good for the dogs as well. Teeth, calcium. Sometimes if I haven't been able to find frozen sardines, I'll just add in some fish oil that I've got as well. Sometimes coconut oil is really good too for the skin and coat. I don't feed the dogs any bigger bones just because I do have 4 and I don't want them to get into a habit of resource guarding or fighting over bones. I'd rather just give them the chicken frames, that way they can eat them pretty quickly. I actually separate them in bags and put them in the freezer because I do buy a couple of boxes at a time. And this time I'll show you in a second, they're quite meaty. Sometimes the necks are still on there as well. Sometimes a little bit of the thigh. So sometimes we get quite lucky with meaty chicken frames. And as far as portion sizes, I just more or less just get a nice handful or maybe 2 handfuls and just separate them in bags. I will look at my dogs. If I feel like they're a little bit leaner, I'll give them a little bit more food. If I feel like they're a little bit heavier, I'll just keep an eye on what I'm feeding them. So I like to look at them and see, you know, that they're looking fit in my eyes, and I can just see a little bit of their rib at the back. So I don't go out and portion everything just because I do not only feed just raw. It is, like I said before, the dry kibble as well, which is black pork. So it's a high quality kibble. And this will last a few weeks as well between the 4 dogs because I only portion them into smaller servings. And I do get asked how much I spend on food. I don't add it up. I just buy it. The dog food is the dry food's very expensive. It all is, but I don't add it up. I just buy it. I've committed to 4 dogs, so I commit to buying the food that they need. What I think is best for my dogs. And I don't like to feed 1 meal with my dogs. I know some people do. I prefer to do 2 meals, 2 smaller meals, just because I'm very cautious of bloat. So I won't feed them first thing in the morning because I know when they go outside they're all going to run around and be a bit crazy. So I'll just usually wait about an hour and then I'll give them their first meal, so breakfast. And then usually at night time as well, they'll get their second one. But then again, when it's a bit warmer, sometimes I don't want to eat in the afternoon, so I prefer to just feed them in the morning. Okay, and then what I do is I buy some freezer bags. And I'll just get a nice portion as such. Nice big handful, and you can see it's got the hearts, the liver, carrot, peas, and it's got some berries in there all mixed in. And I'll just pop it in the freezer bag. And I actually flatten them out on top of each other so they're like patties. So when I do give them frozen, it's just easier for the dogs to eat because it's nice and flat rather than a big round ball, and they love it. Okay, so I'm done portioning all my raw meat, and then I'll pop all that in the freezer. So yeah, got a good mix in there, like I showed before. And I'll actually show you some of the frames that I've got, the chicken frames. So I did one bag earlier, so we'll see if this bag is as meaty. Sometimes they're a lot smaller, it just depends. So that one's not too bad. Sometimes, like I said before, they've got the necks, sometimes a bit of the thigh. That's actually quite meaty there as well. So sometimes they've got a lot more skin. But the chicken frames, they're great for adding bone content to the dog's diet, and also helps to clean their teeth. And they just love them, and especially frozen, because here in Australia, it's summer, so helps cool them down as well. So sometimes I buy 3 bags, just depends what the butcher's got, my local butcher. Sometimes they're tiny frames and I'll give the dogs 2 of them, but these ones are pretty good size. And my dogs, I can actually feed them the frames all together. They will go to separate little spots, but they just, yeah, they keep away from each other. They eat their own. And Harley's the quickest to actually finish her frame, followed by Bella. And Misty and Zeus is normally last, but they don't go near each other once they finish theirs. I'll always be supervising, just in case. At the end of the day, they're still animals. When I give them fresh, obviously they eat them a lot quicker. Frozen, they take a little bit longer to get through. So if I've given them dry kibble in the morning, I'll give them a frame in the afternoon. I usually won't give them the mince mixture that I've made up if I'm giving them the frame. But if I'm feeling one of them's a little bit leaner, sometimes they fluctuate a little bit in weight depending on the weather. Actually, that usually plays a big part in it. They don't like to eat when it's hot. Or when it's raining outside, they won't go outside, they'll stay inside. And I'm not going to feed them chicken frames inside the house, so I try to give them more kibble, but yeah, when they're inside and it's raining, they usually don't eat a lot either. They try to come around us and get our food, but yeah, we don't let that happen. Don't get into the habit of giving them our scraps, because otherwise won't be able to eat in peace. But yeah, that's what I do. That's part of my dog's diet. Sometimes I'll also give them wings, chicken wings or chicken drumsticks if the butcher hasn't got the frames, or just so I mix it up a little bit for a different variety. I'll do that as well. Buy a big packet of chicken wings. Sometimes I'll buy a big packet of chicken necks. Not often, I don't buy the necks, but I will buy the necks. I didn't buy them for a long time because some of the information I heard about on that, but there's a lot of conflicting things about lots of different ways to feed raw and what you should and shouldn't do. It's like some vets are for, some are against. But yeah, do your own research and do what works for you. But yes, I'll freeze all this, and maybe I'll do another video with the dogs eating a bit of the raw, or me taking out of the freezer and the dogs chewing through it. But yeah, that's it for today.